Today we are going to work on all the pivot bushings on the subframe. So let me explain. On my subframe, I have 3 points of contact. Most subframes, I believe, are 4 points of contact because they're longer. Mine is very short because of the giant cab, so I only have 3. So number 1 is right here, and this obviously rocks side to side like this. And then up there we have one on the left, one on the right, and those kind of twist front to back. So here's a close-up of the other 2 pivots. There's 1 and there's 2. And then on most other ones, like I said, there's a 4th one that is just like this one, but only up front. So up front, 2 in the middle, 1 in the back. They all have rubber bushings, and we're going to replace all of those. We're going to do that now because it's going to be a lot easier than when there is a box on the back of here. So I believe these are all the parts I'm going to need. These are the big rubber bushings that go on the front too. You can see they're just 2 halves, go together like that. That should be, in theory, very simple to change out. We just have 4 bolts holding this cap on. Take the cap off, replace the bushings, done. So we're hoping that's the case. And then these are all the parts for the pivot on the rear one. There's this rubber bushing. This is probably the most important part and the most important one to replace because it's rubber, and I don't know how old the other one is in there. Could be 40 years old, and rubber's not good when it gets old. So it's got a steel center, a rubber casing, surrounded by another steel case. So we got to press that out and put the new one in. This is the bolt that holds it all together, and then there's 2 more steel bushings that will go on the other side. So I'm pretty sure that's everything we need. We're going to find out, and then tools. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is take this bolt out. It's actually not tight because we took this out once before, a couple days ago. But it is 24 millimeter. It's so very complicated taking a bolt out. Alright, bolt is out. That is the bolt that was in there. This apparently is the real Mercedes bolt. So I guess we're upgrading.
Hey.
Sweet.
Like upgrading.
Yeah. Alright, next up, we're going to take the bolts out of those 2 front pivots. 19.
Right, they're just spinning on top. Have you got something for me to hold the bolt on top?
I do. Yeah, I guess we don't need to film this.
No, we don't.
Alright, so we got these off. They're very simple. Just these rubber bushings, steel cap. These are the bolts. I would recommend putting WD-40 or cleaning the threads off in some way before you take them off. There's a lot of gunk on there and they just get very hard to undo. I guess we are now completely detached, so now we just need to lift this up so we can get to the top side of the bushings on that, and then get in there so we can hammer out the old bushing in that. So I think we're just going to lift this up and crib it with wood and get it out of our way and then work from there. One thing we did notice last time, we were tilting the back up because we hadn't undone these. We were just looking at the back pivot. On mine at least, it's not a lot of space here, and they ran the brake lines on top of the frame. So if you pivot this up too much, you could crush some of those lines with the subframe. So keep that in mind, which we will do when we're lifting this. Okay, as far as we can tell, you can't lift this just taking the bolt out. There are these bushings that go in there. They slide in. You can see those in there. So we need to hammer those out. So we're just going to use a punch and a hammer, knock those out, and then this should completely lift up. You can tell we punched those out before. First time we did that a few days ago was a little bit harder.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Is that out?
That's not. It's not fully out, but it's out.
It is. So we now have this clear. And we haven't done this before, so we need to press this out somehow. Okay, after much deliberation, we have decided that it is probably not the best idea to try to push this out while it is still on the truck. We thought about using a hydraulic jack and putting it against that beam there and pushing this way, but we're afraid that we're going to bend this or shear these bolts or something. So I think we're going to take this off, take it to a place that's got a real press, and have them press this out and then press the new one in. We did find a socket that fits and could have possibly been used to press it out, and I banged on it a few times, but it went nowhere. So we think that's a safer bet.
Yeah.
Dan agrees. But this time Dan says we should put WD-40 on the bolts first. So they're easier to get off. And I agree. So these are the two bolts that hold that cross member on. Is that what we call it?
Yeah.
For some reason they put these standoffs underneath the frame. I don't know why.
No,
Maybe so it's easier to get to the bolt. I don't know. But that should be free now.
Might be easier to twist through 90 degrees. Well done.
It's a boy! Okay, so it's not a solid piece. It's not even a tube. There's a gap here. I wonder why they did that. Maybe so it could drain? Dan thinks, well, I guess you're right. Maybe this here is a sleeve that goes all the way through.
Might not be though. Difficult to tell, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, I am here at Ozzy's Automotive. He is the guy for Monteros. This is about Unimogs though. We were able to press this out, the old one, and press the new one in. Very easy, just using a simple hand crank hydraulic press. So I didn't film it. It's not his thing, but it was very easy. We used this socket, which is Dan's actually, and it happened to fit perfectly. And yeah, that was the simplest thing so far. So awesome on that. All right, Dan has just pushed this out, muscled it out of there. So this is another one, the top half of the right one over there. The other one just fell out on its own. It's right there. There we go. That's the empty one. Empty one. I'm just going to slide the new ones up in there and set it back down. Alright, next up we have these bushings. These go in here like so, and they just actually just slide right in. So I'm going to grease these red grease. Alright, that is all lubed up. Look at that. It just slides right in there. I didn't realize those were supposed to just... Yep, that one too. Interesting. Okay. So those are really meant to pivot then. Okay, so next we lower this down a little bit.
I think we try and do it lower up front.
Okay. Can you push it down?
Yeah.
There we go.
Sweet.
Yes. Okay, that works. That's interesting. It looks
Still not
flared
locked.
out.
Sorry?
It looks flared out,
Yeah.
but
I think it's good.
it can't be wider than it was before. This fit perfect.
Oh, hang on. It's not going after it was down.
Oh, you're right. Okay, let's get that out of there. No wonder.
Will it just hold that?
No, it wants to drop.
Okay.
Okay. Alright. He's going after. Duh.
Easy done.
Easy fix. Okay, now you can let that down. Oh yeah, that makes more sense. Oh, yeah, that went in. Okay. I am.
That's it. That's okay. Yep, that's good.
Coming down. Yeah, you can just leave it all up there.
Okay. The weight's on the rubbers now.
Sweet. Okay. So, can you slide this in there from there?
I should think so. Hold on. Yeah. Have you got something I can just with this? Yep, that's it.
Okay. That's in too.
Did you put some anti-seize on it?
I did.
Chad, what are you doing with the G-clamps?
Well, these rubber pieces, the bushings, look like they might be a little longer than the other ones. There's space sticking down. So when you get them together, there's a gap. So either these are made for a bigger tube, or
They compress.
they just compress into place. So we're going to see if we can compress them. And hope that that is the situation at hand. Oh, we got so close. We could always cut.
We
Part
could
of
always
them off.
cut a little bit off, yeah. Do you want me to hold it while you clamp it?
Can you?
Yeah. I was just putting the camera down so I could do that. The other option you have is to get 2 long bolts, tighten them up, push them right through and tighten them up diagonally, and then get the shorter bolts through if this doesn't work.
So these clamps worked wonder. So we got those 2 on, got all 4 on there successfully.
Well done.
Yeah, that's not much of a space. It's rubber, right? Okay, we are back under the truck, and I am not happy with that at all. I wasn't super happy with it when I put it together, but now that I've done some research and looked at some other photos, I haven't found anybody to give me a definitive answer as to whether this is not good, but I'm deciding I don't like it. So you can see here, this I don't think it's supposed to be coming out like that. It's coming out both sides, and you can see how bunched up it is right in here. You can see how smashed it is, and I don't like that. So I looked at photos, and I'll put it up right now, of the old one, and there's actually a gap in here, and these 2 plates completely come together. So I can't crank this down anymore to get those plates together. So I'm going to pull these off. I'm going to cut them down to the same size as the old ones and then put it back together. And just in case you're interested, this is the other side, and you can see that overlap there. It's squishing out. It didn't squish out the side here, but then we've got this gap down here, so water's going to get in there, and it also just doesn't seem like it's seated well. And I got a huge gap here, so yeah, that's coming off. Okay, so here are the new ones. This is an original one, and all the original ones are the same size, but you can see that there is quite a difference. I don't know what you call that, half an inch, something like that, on each side. So we need to cut these down. The width is exactly the same. So I'm thinking maybe these were for a U1300. I'm guessing the U1300 has a bigger crossbar. I don't know for sure, but that's just a guess. Maybe these are made for that. So we're gonna just chop these down. I'm just gonna mark them, this end, and then this side, and then draw a straight line there, and score it with a razor blade. See if we can get through it like that. This bump is gonna make things a little difficult. That bump, actually that's wider too. These do sit in there flush, so I don't think that is a problem. That's no problem. I'm barely pushing on it, and that flushes out. So I'm going to assume that that's okay, and we just need to make them smaller. I think I spent 50 euros on all 4 of these, or I think 6 of them, for 6 of them. So they're not that expensive. I got these at Texon. I don't know where they're made. Probably in Turkey. Alright, I am using these blocks so I can get a flat surface. I'm trying to cut from the inside because that was the only place I could put a straight edge. I don't know why this keeps happening to me with Texon. The last rubber parts I got were the torque tube boots, and I had to drill out where the holes went. Oops, this is the side. Didn't have any holes for the screws to hold them together, so I don't know if it's just my bad luck. Everybody else on the forum seems to have great success with them. Hump. Okay. Well, that worked. Quite pleased with that. Hopefully nobody else has to actually do this. But in case you do, this is how I did it. I should just contact them and say, hey, why don't these fit? Gave them the right part number. And then once that's started, okay. It's not bad. Yeah, that's almost perfect. I might have cut just a little too much. Okay, this is really weird. So as I was going to cut, or actually mark my line in the next one, I noticed there's already a line there. I don't know if this will pick it up, but there's a little line going across almost exactly where I was cutting, and it's on both sides. And then I checked the other ones and it's there. So that's weird. Are these like a one size fits all and you cut it to the right size type thing? I don't know. But that's interesting that that line is right there. Ready to go. Huh. I'm going to use it. Okay, so I cut that one off at the line that was already on there, and that one ended up being perfect. So that is the right size. I'm guessing that line must be there for a reason. I don't know if that's how they're always made, or if maybe that's a Texon thing, or what. But if you do get them from Texon, check the inside. There's a little line here. It's already there. Just use that as your gauge. Score it with a knife, and you're good to go. 2 more to do. Alright, these are all cut to size. One of them, the first one I did before I knew about the line, a little bit shorter than the others. A couple millimeters on each side. You can see the difference in thickness. I think this is one of my from the first one, and then this is from one of the other ones. But now we have a bunch of these things. Let's go put these on the truck. I just used a razor blade. No big deal. Okay, so I've got this side on, and that is way better. It's not tight yet, but you can see these huge gaps here. I think I found some torque specs for this. This is 160 Newton meters, which is 118 foot-pounds. The only torque wrench I have that will do that is this giant one. So we're going to see how well this works. I'll post where I found the specs. It's in my manuals. I think this is the right one. It's the only M16 bolt in the list. So there we go. As far as I can tell, these are 110 Newton meters, which is 81 foot-pounds. Let's readjust this. See if we can get this in here to be able to do this. Well, all right, maybe this will work. Done. Maybe you don't need to hold the top. Okay. Okay. That's much easier. Okay. Alright, so what's the final verdict on this? Well, first of all, if you can get a friend to help you, I would definitely do that. If you can get it Dan, even better. As far as the way these worked out in the front, this one doesn't look too bad. It's still hitting, so it's a little squished together. So maybe I could have definitely cut these down more, so maybe that line wasn't for that. But I cut them to the same size as the other one, so I don't know why that's happening. That's weird. Maybe they just squish more. I have no idea. Anyway, I'm going to leave it. I think it's okay. It's not as egregious as it was earlier. There's no gap here. You can see a little bit of squish out here. So they're torqued down correctly, I hope. The names are a little vague. This one here is squishing out a little bit more. It's not quite as perfect, but I think it's going to work. You can see it bulging up here as well. So we'll see. Torque down as well. And then this one's fantastic. This went in super easy. Love it, no questions about it. I'm almost positive that's the right torque spec. So that's good. And that I think is probably more important because that's what's actually pivoting. Again, most of you are going to have two of these, one of these here and one of them up front. I only have the one. So I think that was a worthy project. And now when we go to put the box on the back, we do not have to worry about replacing any of that stuff after it's on there. So much easier. And I guess that's all I've got for you on that. We got tons of other stuff going, so I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.